Hey there, for this slide, we're going to be talking about using our Shapes tool to enhance lessons and activities. So essentially, you can take any worksheet and turn it into an interactive board. I had shown you earlier with the snip and sketch video that you can essentially download your PDFs and then you can use shapes kind of like counters, like they would use as manipulatives. So let me show you some ways that you can do this, okay? Essentially, you go up to your shapes tool and you can use your shapes for lots of things. You can use your circles to kind of create some digital counters. I do this a lot in my math lessons. I've found that if I drop my dot cam down and they can only see my hands working on slides or working with counters, and they can't see my face, I lose them a little bit. So I actually present my screen and I use digital counters so they can still see my face through my dot cam. That way they still have that personal connection while I am presenting and giving them some good visuals. So essentially what I would do is I would just create a bunch of these circles. Now you only need to make one. From there you can just copy and you can just paste, okay? Once you get a good stack of them, highlight them all, copy, and paste, okay? Now a good rule of thumb is the stacking is a little annoying, but you will get the hang of it. The good rule of thumb is that go ahead and provide about 5 more than you think they might need for the game because they could totally delete them. So I always just keep compounding them. So now I did 4, I just copied and pasted, now I have 8. Now I'm gonna paste again. So now I know I've got a good group, okay? So right here, I could insert a 10 frame using my snip and sketch, and then I can use counters, okay? It's the same thing as having them push their own counters in front of them. It's just that they get the visual of me doing it with my face still showing, so they have that personable moment instead of just my hands in front of the dot cam with counters. Now, the good thing about these shapes is you can totally select them all and just select another color. So if you need 2 colors of counters, don't create 20 more circles. Just hit your copy, hit your paste, and now you've got a whole nother set that you can highlight and change. So now you have 2 contrasting. So like when we started addition this week, that's kind of what we've been working with, right? Here is one of my math lessons I can show you real quick. Never mind. Oh, here we go. So right here, I started with a 5 frame and we were just doing some review of how to count on. So the kids have the visual of the 5 frame. And then I tell them to go ahead and fill it up with their counters. And then I want them to count on until we get to 7. So essentially, instead of just watching my hands do the work, they can now watch the screen do the work and they'll still see my face attached to that. So same thing, they just get 2 visuals instead of the 1, okay? And that's how we've been doing that. Another way that you can use your shape counters is I showed you in the independent work. This is more of a highlighter circle, right? You can see it's transparent, okay? How I did that was you just essentially make another set of circles and then you paste them in. There we go. And then I would highlight the group again. I go down to this custom button right here. So essentially I can choose any color that I want and I can change the transparency. So if I want them to be able to select something but still see what was underneath, now I have a transparent counter, kind of like the ones we have in our classroom, okay? So I use these a lot so they can just block things off and tell me, their choice. But sometimes it's really nice, especially if they're reading certain words, they can use these to then just highlight and cover and still see what's underneath. Another thing that you can do is you can use highlighter boxes. So sometimes we give them text and we want them to find all of the words that begin with R. So you can essentially pick an outline color right here. You draw any shape, pick an outline color. You can change how thick that border is right here. And then in the middle, you just hit transparent. So the fill will be transparent and the outside is big and bold. Now they can move this box over anything to select it as well. And this is good for lessons too. So if you need to show two different things, you can have like a red box and a purple box to compare the two. Same thing, if you need multiples of them, you just hit copy and you hit paste until you have a good stack of them, okay? I'm trying to think what else you could do. You know, you have all sorts of super cool shapes. Use your call outs. You have stars, you have thought bubbles. We have been using the addition symbols as well. The X's are really great if you have an image and you want them to cross out the items that do not belong. You could create a whole bunch of X's that they could then move over top in their worksheet. So essentially, these are just some ways that we've used shapes to kind of give them a digital manipulative, since we weren't able to provide a digital copy. Now, these do not overtake their actual manipulatives. If I'm giving them, if I'm doing this lesson here, I'm still watching them on Zoom with their real counters. This is just for me to present. Another way that we do it, however, is we do provide our live slides to all of our families. So if they need to go back and practice, they can go into our live slides in their own copy of their slides, and they can edit these and they can practice these as much as they would like. Okay. Now, the last thing that you can do with these shape boxes is creating links. So I will show you that in another video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.